from Pretoria. As we were saying earlier, that on Friday, the 8th of September, UNESCO commemorated International Literacy Day, and the global community also marked this year's International Literacy Day under the theme Literacy in a Digital World. And according to the African Digitalisation Maturity Report of 2017, South Africa is rated as the country with the highest digital literacy in Africa. The country is in a good position then to leverage on opportunities presented by the digital economy. And in addition, digital technologies are fundamentally changing the way that people live, work, learn and socialize. And they're also giving new possibilities to people to improve all areas of their lives, including access to information, knowledge management, networking, social services, industrial production, and their mode of work. Now, let's say good afternoon once again to Professor Veronica McKay, the Executive Dean at UNISA's College of Education, who is joining us from our Pretoria studios. Prof, I hope you can hear me now. As I was saying... I
can hear you well now. We are connected.
There you go. Thank you so much for joining us. And I was saying, before we talk of digital literacy, what successes can we say South Africa has scored of late in literacy in general?
Yeah, in 2007, we started research under the Department of Basic Education to enliterate approximately 4.5 million adult illiterates in South Africa. And that was a very successful and a very significant campaign. And in fact, last year at International Literacy Day in Paris, South Africa received the Confucius Award at the UNESCO Awards for the Karigudi Literacy Campaign. And getting approximately 4 million parents and adults and grandparents literate makes a significant contribution to literacy in South Africa. It makes, and our own research on the 4,000 newly literates show that they are able to help their children in school. With school homework, they are able to participate in community functions. They're able to function in the marketplace. And so we have had an immense turnaround with the adult literacy campaign.
Now,
and in schooling, we...
No, go ahead, Prof.
Oh, I was saying, and in schooling now, there's a massive function or focus on getting children literate. Previously, we've had children who go through schooling and who often emerge after 6 or 7 years without being literate. And so, in terms of new policy, there's a great drive towards mother tongue literacy in the early stages, and a huge focus on literacy with comprehension, and alongside mother tongue literacy, the drive for literacy in English, which becomes the medium of instruction or the language of teaching and learning after 3 years of schooling.
Yes, Prof. Now, this year, if I can just interject there, Prof. This year's International Literacy Day theme is literacy in a digital world. Now, what does it mean to be literate in a digital world?
Okay. Obviously, before one can navigate the digitization and the digital world, one has to be literate. And so I think this is what UNESCO is drawing our attention to the massive digital divide, to the fact that unless children become work ready and literate in school, they're not going to be able to participate in the digitized world. Banking is digital, there's online shopping, the cell phone is rife, and smartphones are there. And so UNESCO is drawing our attention to the digital world and the need for literacy so that school children, school leavers can participate. They draw our attention to the lack of inclusivity in digitization, both through the fact that people don't have the capacity, or they don't have, that data is expensive. And if I can give an example, the Gauteng province recently launched, it's what the MEC calls paperless classrooms. And so you have children going home with iPads, and it's not just a matter of giving a device to a child and hoping that the child would be able to use the device. It was a matter of getting parents able to understand and to monitor children's use of the device, and to understand how devices and how the technology works in the learning environment, and actually how to supervise homework if it's being done on a device. And so, UNESCO draws our attention to all of these kinds of issues.
Prof, there is no doubt.
Yesterday,
there is no doubt that there is a significant increase in the people that are becoming involved in the digital world. But we can also not ignore that we have a sizable number of the population that is not yet in that digital world. So by moving towards issues like the paperless classroom and generally improving our digital communication, are we then not also in danger of marginalizing even further those that are not in the digital world as yet?
And I think this is what UNESCO is drawing our attention to. It is precisely that the digital divide actually mirrors the divide in our society between the haves and the have-nots, having access to devices and to digital competencies, and those who don't. And so the drive is both through literacy and through the promotion of digital skills to increase participation and to engender an inclusivity in the whole digitization process. I mean, there are areas where the signal doesn't reach. There are areas where teachers themselves are not able to use digital devices. And so there are various, it becomes everybody's problem and everybody's business, as does literacy, both right through from home. Literacy it starts in the family, it starts in the home. And even if the parent cannot read, that storytelling becomes a way. So with digital literacy, it becomes everybody's problems. And if banks are expecting people to interact digitally, it becomes their issue too. That is not just the function of the school and the university to ensure that people are digitally literate. It becomes a commercial issue. People who are selling the devices, people who are expecting us to interact through digital devices, that everybody works with this as a problem. Often what we see is what we call the intergenerational space, where you see children, young children, helping their parents who are what we call BC, born before technology, helping parents and helping grandparents to use their devices to send SMSs or WhatsApp messages. And even to draw cash at an ATM, you find that young children are mediating devices for the older generation.
Well,
but
Professor,
the divide is there, and it's a socioeconomic divide.
Well, on that fascinating note, we have to end it, but thank you so much for your time. That was Professor Veronica McKay, the Executive Dean at UNISA's College of Education, speaking to us live from our Pretoria studios.